You know, that's probably one of the more recognizable guitar licks of the early Motown days. And when I originally played it 27 years ago, I didn't think much about it, only that it worked. In the small confines of Studio A, myself and the rest of the musicians didn't realize what an impact we'd have on the rest of the world.
He was very quiet, and he had a mystique about him, but you couldn't find a better, steadier guitarist. And the chords were jazz, but he made it fit in R&B.
They called us the Oreo cookie guitar section because Robert White sat to my right and Eddie Willis sat to my left, and the white boy.
Joseph.
Shortly after Earl Van Dyke died in 1992, I went out to visit Robert in Los Angeles, and we went out to eat. And wouldn't you know it, as we're about to order and the waiter's coming over, all of a sudden you hear the guitar line from My Girl come over the speaker in the restaurant. And Robert got real excited, real animated, and he said, as the waiter walked over, he said, "Hey man, you hear that? That's," and he stopped dead. And then he kind of looked embarrassed, and he looked down at the menu, and he says, "I think I'll have the barbecue chicken." And then, you know, I just ordered my thing, and the guy walked away, and I said, "Robert, you were going to tell him that was you, weren't you?" He said, he kind of looked embarrassed. He said, yeah, but I don't know. He'd look at me and he'd say, "Look at this tired old fool." He'd never believe it. And that floored me. Because, I mean, here's a guy who played a guitar line that's the equivalent, it's like one of the top 5 all-time guitar hooks. I mean, it's right up there with Satisfaction by the Stones and Paperback Writer or Come As You Are from Nirvana. At that point, I realized, you know, here's a guy that's lived for 30 years, this close to his dream. And yet, instead of being inside the dream looking out, he was on the outside of the dream looking in, never able to touch that dream. I knew at that point, you know, Robert desperately needed some recognition in his lifetime. But he didn't make it across the finish line with the rest of the guys. He just didn't make it.